Though written years later, The Grey Mane of Morning is a distant prequel to Joy Chant's fantasy novel, Red Moon and Black Mountain. The main focus of the story is a tribe of Centaurs, the nomadic people of the fantasy world of Vanderai, and a young scion of the tribe whose name is Moran. These nomads tame and ride unicorns and live on the open plains for most of the year. The Centaurs also pay tribute to another group of people called the Kalnat, who live in walled settlements and have a gift for bronze working and warfare. One year, however, the Kalnat claim a woman named Nai as part of their tribute. She is the tribe's priestess and Moran's sister. Incensed but tolerating their fate, the tribe suffers additional hardships at the hands of the Kalnat, escalating into violence, imprisonment, torture, betrayal, and murder. Believing he has no other options, Moran travels to distant lands to gain weapons and training that will make his people capable of resisting any depredations and restore the security and pride of his tribe. As with Red Moon and Black Mountain, the setting does not have the feel of medieval Europe to it, but rather a mixture of Bronze Age cultures living on a wide grassland crossed by great rivers and mountains. Given the many elements in Red Moon and Black Mountain that could have been investigated or expanded upon, especially without having to interject British children into the mix, there was a lot of different possibilities for this novel. Unfortunately, Chant decided to focus on the parts I found the least interesting. The Centaurs and their culture was already covered in a lot of detail in the previous novel, and Chant doubles down by exploring it even more, to the exclusion of most of the rest of the setting and its various cultures. Everything takes too long in this book. It's 100 pages before any action is taken given the kidnapping of Nai, and nearly 2/3 of the book passes before the conflict between the Centaur and Kalnat begins in earnest. The struggle doesn't feel motivated in a human way. For instance, it would have made sense if, in a moment of rage, Moran struck and or killed the man who takes his sister, but instead he spends the next several months brooding and lamenting the ill fate of his family and his people, while he wonders which of the girls in the tribe he should like more. In a fantasy novel with unicorns and manifestations of divine entities, many times the reactions of human characters are the least believable parts. In its basics, the story isn't too different from something like Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, or Dune, played straight instead of subverting or critiquing messianic hero stories, and as such, I found the book dull. The chosen one and noble savage tropes are delivered without variation or irony, so it reads like cultish propaganda without a lot to engage the reader's imagination. Often the novel comes across as a lionization of Moran. He is great at everything he tries to do. He's always morally correct. All the women desire him and men admire him. And you can instantly tell who the villains are because they're the only ones who don't love him right away and mistreat him. Everything is easy for him, and he's never at fault. Being constantly told how amazing Moran is soured the story and made me hope there was some swerve coming, or at least a wild change in tone for the last stretch of the novel, like what happened in Red Moon and Black Mountain. I was mistaken in that hope. I would have found Moran much more interesting and believable if he had flaws, if he was rash and vain, or had to win his fights through cheating and trickery, or chose poorly when faced with a moral dilemma, or got himself and people he cared about hurt because he believed the hype about himself, or if he really suffered any setback of any kind because of his own actions. In Red Moon and Black Mountain, there's some talk about Moran as the original leader and warrior of the Centaur people, and they admire and hold him as a paragon of their culture and virtues. The Gray Mane of Morning would have made a much more engaging story if we got to read about Moran, the flawed man who is still able to lead his people into greatness and glory, rather than the novel as it is. This book is less lyrical in its prose style than its predecessor, which frequently makes the story come across flatter and less interesting. As I said before, the characterization is also thin and significantly less noteworthy than Chant's previous novel, even though this book is ostensibly geared toward an older audience. For all my criticisms of it, I far preferred Red Moon and Black Mountain to The Gray Mane of Morning. I don't find the latter essential to broadening the story or the world that Joy Chant set forth, and I didn't enjoy it as a fantasy novel. But what do you, the audience at home, think? Am I too critical of the book? Are my tastes too much toward other flavors to find this story to my liking? Am I just not the audience for this book? Let me know in the comments. Next in the box of paperbacks is The Black Cloud, a hard science fiction novel by the British astrophysicist and writer Fred Hoyle, and it concerns an interstellar event that threatens the extermination of all life on Earth. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my peculiar notions. If you appreciate the channel and want to support it, you know what to do. You can also take a moment to like, comment, share, or subscribe to the channel of another YouTube creator you enjoy. Until next time, read some good books, live, and be well.